start.
ओके सो थैंक यू भास्कर जी आने के लिए। ईट स्लीप ड्रिंक क्रिकेट पे फाइनली आप आपके अंदर जो पूरा मसाला भरा हुआ है बीजीटी के लिए वो आप आज निकाल सकते हैं, क्योंकि हम बात कर रहे हैं द बाप ऑफ ऑल टेस्ट सीरीज, बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी। सो इस पे दो तीन टॉपिक्स ही है ज्यादा से ज्यादा। सो वन थिंग इज आई थिंक विल कीप इट ऑन अ सीरीज लेवल पे बात करेंगे आज।
Mhm.
और पर्थ के टेस्ट के बारे में, सिंपली पर्थ के टेस्ट के बारे में, होपफुली फ्राइडे टेस्ट शुरू होने से पहले एक, इफ अभिजीत इज आल्सो एबल टू ज्वाइन, वैसा कर लेंगे कि उनको भी लेके पर्थ टेस्ट के बारे में बात करेंगे। एंड देयर इज अ रीजन व्हाई पर्थ टेस्ट शुड बी लुक्ड सेपरेटली, राइट? सो पहला मैं स्टार्ट करता हूँ, भास्कर सर बताएं आप इस बॉस बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी को। So there are two ways to look at it. एक, आप बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी को कैसा देखते हैं, how you look upon the series. Second,
Mhm.
we just had a very big shock against New Zealand. उस बैकग्राउंड में, उस सराउंडिंग में, उस एनवायरनमेंट में आप इस सीरीज को कैसे देखते हैं? सो आंसर इट सेपरेटली।
See, we had a huge shock. Okay, this was probably the biggest shocks in recent Test history, and especially the like last 40, 50 years of Test cricket we've been watching. Since we lost 1-0 to Sri Lanka in 1986 when we were touring Sri Lanka, I think this has been India's by far, and apart from losing one more one-off test against Zimbabwe, again in Zimbabwe, which was Robin Singh's debut apparently, this was probably the greatest, the worst ever loss I have seen in the last 40, 50 years, 45 years. So that's how it is. But in the background, thoda, we had a bit of a interesting T20 series, and which India played very well. They played like outstanding. They played like world champions, and they showed why they are the world champions. Okay, even South African full strength team couldn't stand up to India's uh, like I wouldn't say second string. It was more or less the first string team, the main team, apart from the few test players. So that was some थोड़ा सा एक मरहम था, छोटा सा हल्का सा मरहम. जख्म अभी भी गहरे हैं, बट थोड़ा मरहम की वजह से दर्द कम हुआ थोड़ा, especially because of Sanju Samson and Tilak Verma. Okay, so but still coming back to the Perth test now. Okay, so Rohit is not going, that's clear. Shubman Gill is injured.
पर्थ नहीं 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 नहीं, पर्थ टेस्ट सबसे लास्ट में। एक अलग से उसके बारे में प्रोग्राम करेंगे।
हाँ
आप बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी पहले बोलिए।
हाँ ठीक है, बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी. सो ऑफ कोर्स द पर्थ टेस्ट से ही शुरू होने वाला है. सो बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी में ऑफ कोर्स लाइक विल सी रोहित शर्मा, बट आई एम श्योर ही इज गोइंग टू गो फॉर द सेकंड टेस्ट मैच. We're going to have an extended team with Padikkal is staying back, and I wish they had also asked Sai Sudarshan to stay back. I'm not too sure whether he's still in Australia कि India A का टीम बाकी आ चुका है वापस. Whether they're playing because India A was playing against the main team, right? So many of the players are still there, I guess. I don't know how many of them have returned or what exactly how the scenario is. So Border Gavaskar Trophy, I think India has to play like corner tigers. ऐसा कभी situation आया नहीं है from where India has fought back. So India should take maybe some learnings from how the older teams fought. Remember in 1978, India had lost the first two test matches in Australia. Of course, it was a depleted Australian side due to the Packer series. India, Bobby Simpson was called back out of retirement to lead, and India lost the first two test matches, but they came back and made it 2-all. And that was the first time India won in Australia, two test matches back to back. And then we ended up losing the last test, but it was a good series. 3-2 at that time in Australia was not bad. Of course, it was in the first strength Australian team, but India was still not really a huge force to reckon with, apart from maybe one all-time great which we had produced, whom we had produced. Gavaskar was there. So I think we have to take a lot of courage from what the way we played in 1978, how we came back and drew the series in 81. 86 again, there was like we batted brilliantly, though the pitches were not very bowler friendly. So all of them were drawn series. This thing till we came to 92 when we started losing badly against Australia. 92 and 99 are the only two series where we got hammered. And apart from, of course, the 2000, I think 11 12, yeah, 11 12 series, no, that's where we got hammered 4-0 again. But for that, we have all apart from that three series which I have seen, India has pretty much competed well in Australia. If you see, I think they have done better than they have done in England or New Zealand or South Africa. If you see among the so-called SENA countries, India has competed the best in Australia. Of course, England also we have done well because of the 86 series. I think it looks good, but I think we can do well. It suits the Indian batsman the best. If you see, South Africa is the most difficult to play because it swings and bounces. New Zealand, it's so sticky and swinging. India, like just India don't play enough test matches, so it doesn't look as bad as it is. India, like more or less, ends up losing in New Zealand. And England, we have done reasonably well, but Australia is a place where we have consistently done well, especially since the 2003-4 series where we drew the series. 7-8 again, we should have won probably. Of course, due to reasons better known, we lost the series 2-1, but I think we were the better side. Easily we were the better side. And we should have technically, I think I still believe that was a series which India lost due to other non-cricketing reasons. So I think India can do quite well. मुझे तो लग रहा है कि अभी I think Virat Kohli has to
Yeah,
somehow.
2007-8, Steve Buckner defeated us.
Yeah. Steve Buckner,
Yeah,
of
I
course,
just
Steve
wanted to put
Buckner,
it.
probably there could have been other reasons. What I mean to say is, why would Steve Buckner give such decisions? He's not that bad an umpire to make such obvious errors here. It was there for everybody to see. So I still believe there could have been reasons more than just cricketing mistakes. Because it's not like it's so obvious decisions. It's highly like, especially like 99 it was targeted. Like like not Daryl Harper had made sure that he's going to give Sachin out at the slightest of opportunity. कंधे पे भी लगा तो
Yeah,
एलबीडब्ल्यू, सर पे लगा तो एलबीडब्ल्यू, कुछ भी मतलब इट
yeah.
वाज लाइक okay, like of course it's
It's
we know the rule that if it hits any part of the body other than the bat and if it goes on to hit the stumps, it's LBW. Rules की बात नहीं थी. It was so obvious that it's going to bounce like well over. So such things do happen. But Abhi, because of the quality of umpiring has improved a lot since Simon Toffel came in. I think we've seen so umpiring would not be an issue. I feel so, and crowds have also become less partisan these days. So many Indians are there for first generation Indians that we have enough support. So उतना कोई issue नहीं है जो पहले होता था. I still feel I think we need Virat Kohli to come to the party. I think without Kohli coming to the party, winning the whole series, a big 5 test series is not going to happen. We can't keep expecting what happened last time. We also have to understand that it was we played brilliantly, but it was not a great Australian side. The captain was not a very good captain. There were a lot of other, isn't it? There were a lot of other factors also which contributed to India winning that series. India played brilliantly out of the skins. I think the greatest achievement of that series was not any of the victories, I feel. The biggest achievement of that series was the Sydney draw, which was the most improbable. The way we were going, I think Melbourne test we dominated. The last test, of course, it was a great innings, but it looked like we can go. It was always on the cards. The victory was always in the cards. But that Sydney test, uh, no one could have ever thought that Hanuma Vihari, who couldn't walk, and Ashwin, and they would just bat 45 overs on the day 5. So I think that was the greatest achievement of that series. So Asa, we have to, even in the 2015 series, we drew 2 test matches, if you remember. Isn't it? We played out of our skins. Murli Vijay played brilliantly. I think we need to show that kind of courage. Every time, like Rishabh Pant cannot come and win you matches all the time. We need a lot of courage and a lot of backs to the wall innings, a lot of rear guard actions, a lot of attritional cricket in Harsha's language. So I think we need to do a lot of those things will be needed to win 5 test, like in a 5 test series. So that's what I look at. I think we have a great bowling attack, fast bowling attack. I think once Shami also, if he's flown there, I think probably we would have the best fast bowling attack we've ever had. It's still the batting is the worry. So I think if that's where we need to get in the players with the right attitude. Pant and Jurel, 2 keepers, don't worry about it. Get both of them in. Rajiv.
right. Opening remarks ही इतना बड़ा बड़ा देते हैं आप. So
बिल्कुल.
my take is यार आप 1978 में तो हम ही पैदा नहीं हुए थे, तो फिर कहाँ से मतलब ये बच्चे जो खेलने वाले हैं इनका क्या ही बोला है. I think more or less what this team would take inspiration is what happened in the last 1 decade. I don't think they, except Virat Kohli who was there in the 2011 series, others were not even a part of it. they would look something from 2015 and all, and from there on, it has been a complete Indian domination. Even in 2015, Virat Kohli went for that improbable win of chasing in Adelaide, and some little mistakes happened. Otherwise, we would have won that test. And had we got a 1-0 lead, I think Dhoni would have had a very big jewel on his thing of having an Australian win
Yeah.
series in his pocket, because
Uh,
he came back the second test and he left Sydney test at the moment because he knew that anyways there's no result coming in his way, so he just left it off and then went off to the World Cup and all those stuff. But that one win, Virat Kohli could have won that match, and if he had won that match, I mean it would have been counted with what Rahul Dravid did in Adelaide or Lakshman did in Kolkata. That kind of
yeah.
innings it would have been.
Yeah. And Murli Vijay,
Yeah,
can't forget.
but
Probably he played an equally good
yeah,
knock.
yeah, he played 99. He even in the second test also, Murli Vijay got 100. So it was, I think, that was batting at its peak. Really very well played. KL Rahul just debuted in that
Yeah.
series. He got
Yeah.
100 in Sydney. So
Uh,
overall, I think that was really good
And
series.
and Rahane got 100 in Melbourne. He scored 200 in
Yeah,
Melbourne.
yeah. So I think I, I think that time we did not have the ballers to take us through. But guess by the time we came in at 2018 and all, we had the bowlers to do. So in this series also, in the fifth five series, I believe that India has the bowlers to take those 20 wickets.
I
We
think,
have that
yeah.
combination. It depends. It depends how far they'll be fit. We'll come to that point. How fitness would be challenged here. But otherwise, the
Right.
bowlers are there to take 20 wickets for us in a test match. What you mentioned correctly is the batting. Batting is going to be that is the one which holds the entire key. कि क्या करने वाले हैं बैटिंग के साथ क्या करने वाले हैं करके. So let me now ask you a few questions on what kind of squad you see. So we'll separate batting and we'll separate bowling first. So let's look at first batting. So let's talk about the top six. Now I know that's one of the reasons why I said पर्थ टेस्ट को अलग से बात करते हैं क्योंकि इसमें इंजरी और बहुत कुछ
Mhm.
है. बट आप टॉप सिक्स होपफुली एडलेड में सब ठीक हो जाएगा मतलब एवरीबडी विल बी इन एंड देन सो कैन यू से हु आर योर टॉप सिक्स बैट्समैन इमेजिनिंग दैट एवरीबडी आर फिट.
Okay.
सो आप अपना टॉप सिक्स बैटिंग क्या
So,
देखते हैं.
okay. So everybody is fit in the sense Rohit is back. Gill is fit, and they have flown Shami. That's imagining like that they've flown Shami to Australia.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think the
Yeah,
top
so we'll
six.
first take the batting part and then
Okay. Okay.
we'll go to bowling.
Rohit Sharma has to play. Is Rohit Sharma and Jaiswal. Gill is number 3. Okay. Number 4, Virat Kohli. I think the first 4 select themselves with the kind of the team structure right now. Whatever we might feel, these 4 like select themselves. And then of course we have Rishabh Pant, number 5. He's been batting at number 5, so where he should bat and all those for another day. That's after that like top 5 are more or less certain if everybody is fit. उसके बाद ही question है, ठीक है? So I would personally pick KL Rahul at 6 because of his experience. Okay, a second new ball coming in, he's had centuries in. Okay, since you have taken him there, you might as well play him right now. Okay, so you need some more experience. If you had Pujara, probably you wouldn't have played Rahul. But since Rahul is there, play him initially at least to start off with, and then I would play Dhruv Jurel, come what may, at number 7. We would play proper 7 solid batsmen. Okay, you can Gill can fill in a few overs, Kohli can fill in a few overs. थोड़ा अगर rest देना हो तो have 7 batsmen. Number 8, I would play Jadeja because the kind of batting he's been doing, and you'll need to bowl long overs because I don't. If the ball is not going to spin in the early part, okay, Adelaide and Sydney, you might play Ashwin, but if the ball is not going to spin, I don't think Ashwin can bowl. उसका physical fitness अभी ऐसा नहीं है कि 20-25 ओवर डाल सके. So I would play Jadeja to start off with, and then I would play India's 3 genuine fast bowlers, world-class fast bowlers, without looking at their batting abilities. So of course, and that, again, Bumrah and Shami select themselves. Okay, so that brings us to that one position. Who is going to be the third fast bowler? But I don't think this will happen. They will play one extra seamer there, I feel. But maybe to start off with, I would, because of the kind of form he's been in, he's been bowling well. I would play Prasidh Krishna to start in the first test match. And then seeing how the injuries, I don't know whether can Bumrah play all 5 tests, because I think this is the peak of Bumrah. We need to make him play all 5 test matches, and we need Bumrah to really win this series for us. I think it's a lot on like Bumrah, Shami. I think Bumrah ka jo peak hai, I think almost like Malcolm Marshall running through sides, or Wasim Akram and Waqar Yunus doing it. We need that kind of a performance from Jasprit Bumrah, whom I still believe is one of the three greatest fast bowlers from the subcontinent ever, along with the two Ws. So that's my team for the start to start off with. उसके बाद
Okay.
depending, I don't see, because Nitish Reddy को थोड़ा over के लिए I don't think it makes sense in playing a Nitish Reddy. Instead of that, I will play 7 proper batsmen, play Jadeja, and then maybe get those 8-10 overs from the other bowlers. Maybe to Gill and Jaiswal can roll their arms over. And then play
Yeah,
those
I think so.
solid four. That's how Australia used to play, if you remember. They hardly had any all rounder at their peaks. Even West Indies never had an all rounder. They used to play 4 fast bowlers. West Indies, Australia used to play 3 fast bowlers and 1 spinner in Shane Warne, and Gilchrist used to bat at number 7. So the other overs used to be bowled by Damien Martin, Ricky Ponting. Before that, it used to be Greg Blevett or Stuart Law. So the batsmen used to bowl a few overs like Ganguly, Tendulkar used to bowl. So I think we need to get that kind of, because we don't have a Kapil Dev here to really bowl and bat, right? The best all rounder we have is Ravindra Jadeja. So I think that's how we should go about it. Rajiv.
Yeah, I really like the way you put it up. So what my thought here is that, it is interesting that how they're going to use these bowlers. You have Prasidh Krishna, who bowled extremely well with the new ball uh, on the you know uh, so in the A series there, he was pitching it right up there, and really the seam position was very, very good. So does Akashdeep. And but we also have to remember that Siraj has done very well in Australia last time. He picked up a 5-4 in Brisbane. And then also what happens is that with the red ball, he's a far bigger threat than the other things. And he probably doesn't have the same sting when he bowls in our home conditions. But in Australia, England, he's a far bigger threat. So I don't know how they're. So the point is that what we were speaking in.
In regular situation, Siraj would walk in, okay, because he is India's senior bowler. But the only thing that looking at his recent form, I don't know how he's bowling at the nets, but of course,
No, no. So
because Krishna is
that's what I'm
suddenly like
saying.
he's getting people like hopping, and I think he's hitting people. So maybe they would pick Prasidh Krishna. But I think again, मुझे तो ऐसा लगता है कि they'll play 4 fast bowlers, and then
No. So
they'll play Jadeja.
let me complete, Nasir.
Yeah, please go
I'm
ahead.
just yeah. I'm just saying that. So what happens is that it totally now depends on what is happening currently in the nets, how they're feeling and all, and also Perth test, and that's why that discussion will happen at the end, or probably we'll have a separate discussion on Perth for two reasons. One is because the Perth test actually decides what's the 11 which will over a period of time goes, because by the time you come to Sydney, you're almost in the subcontinent conditions. So, and it could have all, between the Perth test and the Sydney test, you could almost see 5 changes, which is possible in the 11 because of various reasons, right? So that's why it is very important that Perth test is going to dominate the way what kind of bowlers you're going to choose. So that is one. Second, so I'll come to the batting front. So yes, I agree with you that Gill will play, and all these guys. I mean, they choose themselves. The only issue is when you play Jurel at seven, then you have only one spinner. Now, if you play Washington Sundar and Jadeja together for majority of the test match, I'm leaving Melbourne and Sydney off. I'm picking the side for the first three tests. Washington Sundar is walking in not because he's a great off spinner. He walks in because he has a great temperament in terms of batting, and he did very well last time. And Ravindra Jadeja has to bowl, because if these two guys can bowl 30 overs in a day, then the rest of the three seamers has to bowl only 60 or 50 or 60. And I agree with you. You have made a very solid point that if Jaiswal and all these guys can bowl 10 overs also, then you make an impact. But still, then you're asking your fast bowlers to bowl around 65, 70, and that could be a load for them.
No.
So, will you bring two spinners, or how do you look at it?
So
I know you, because this
I
five bowler theory is been something which India has been practicing for a long time.
I would think that Jadeja should bowl. Jadeja has, because looking at his fitness, I think Jadeja can bowl 20 overs. You get others to bowl 10 overs, like Jaiswal can bowl three, Gill can bowl a couple, Kohli can, like, just get in if you need it. Jadeja can hold one side up and can give rest to the fast bowlers, and the rest of the three fast bowlers bowl 60 overs. So I think 20, 20, 20, 20, चार like तीन fast bowlers or एक spinner. Maybe Jadeja can bowl 22, 23 overs, because I'm sure Jadeja bowls like, he's used to bowling 35, 40 overs a day. So Jadeja can bowl a bit more, and I think, but I don't think that's going to happen. It's just my opinion. I think they will go in with Pant, and Jurel will probably have to sit out initially. That's what I look at. I think they'll play four fast bowlers and they'll play Jadeja. I don't see Washington Sundar and Jadeja playing together, because that's what India has been
Okay.
doing. They will probably pick Jadeja at 7, then they'll pick four fast bowlers. That will be Bumrah, Shami, Siraj, and either Akashdeep or Prasidh Krishna. That's what is likely to happen. But I would probably personally, if given an opportunity, like, because fast bowlers, they need rest. So we're going to have a fast bowler leading the first test match. So let's see how because when fast bowlers are captains, they tend to overbowl themselves or underbowl themselves. This is a known fact of history. Very few people who have, like Imran Khan, know how to, like, not bowl too much and but still contribute. Kapil Dev had no other option. He had to, like, over bowl in any case. Whether he was a captain or he was not the captain, he would bowl 30, 35, 40 overs in a day. All the others would end up bowling another 30, 40 overs. Those days, only 80 overs used to happen. No? We didn't have 90 overs. So I think, let's see how Bumrah goes. I think Bumrah would go in with four fast bowlers. That's what I feel, because that's what happened in England. If you remember, four fast bowlers. I think the fourth fast bowler used to be Shardul Thakur. But the only interesting fact is none of the fast bowlers are reasonably decent batsmen here. And Nitish Reddy, I don't think you need to pick. Like, I'm not too comfortable picking a average medium pace bowler like Nitish Reddy for his batting. Instead of that,
Actually,
you
I'm not really convinced with the selection itself. But then that's what happens. You make a disruptive
no,
kind
Nitish,
of selection.
no,
Just
he is there in case of emergency. You need to have that kind of a player, because you never
yeah.
know in the day of in the morning, a batsman doesn't is not fit to play, a bowler is not fit to play. You have him as a reserve, and I think it helps. So that's the reason why
Why
he's there.
wasn't Shardul picked? Why wasn't Shardul picked? He
I
was doing
think
the role for
I
couple of years. He did the role, right?
no, no, I think they're like Shardul is 34, 35. I think pushing 36. I think if I'm right, it's very close to 35. So I think they're looking at the future. Nitish Reddy is showing some promise. So I think Shardul not being a great player, I think they are looking at the future, and that's the reason why he's not been picked. And he's not had a great season or something like that. So I think that's the reason they are looking ahead. Ideally, they would have wanted Hardik. Thing is, he was picked for they wanted him to play the World Test Championship final. He turned it down. I don't think his body can take it. So that's why they're looking at other options in the similar category. That's the reason why Ramandeep has been picked, I think, because they're just looking at players. Shivam Dube went to the World Cup, T20 World Cup. He played okay, but he never bowled an over. So it makes more sense to play some Tilak Verma or a Rinku Singh rather than Shivam Dube in those conditions in T20 cricket. So I think they wanted to have the comfort of having a player like uh, Nitish Reddy in the team,
Nitish Reddy.
because in English conditions, such players really are like useful, because the ball swings around, and I don't know what pace he bowls at. Is he 135, 136, or is he 125? I'm not. I don't remember his pace. If he's 134, 135, then you can look.
130. 130.
Maybe if you can add a few more yards to his pace, 130, mid 130s, probably you can still pick a player like that.
Yeah, but 135, even if he bowls at 135 also, it's going to be that odd ball which will go at 135.
Yeah, like
It's
Mitchell,
not going to be
is he in the Mitchell Marsh kind of a
Mitchell
category?
Marsh kind. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mitchell Marsh. Mitchell
So,
Marsh.
so
And
that's
I've not seen any exploits of him in white
so
red ball
that
cricket
see
anywhere.
that's where players like Damien Martin really are useful, right? They were genuine medium pacers, but he was a world class batsman, averaging 47 in Test match cricket.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's where we are like missing a Ganguly or a Tendulkar or a Sehwag, such all time great
No,
cricketers.
my thought is that, if you have a spinning all rounder like Jadeja who's having that kind of class, you should not worry so much. I mean, you have this the that kind of
See,
spin variety is
The
there.
thing is, Jadeja is not a world-class spinner overseas, okay, and he's not a great batsman. So that's where it becomes a bit of a problem. He doesn't
So
walk
where is
into
Nitesh Reddy?
no, he doesn't walk
Nitish
into
Reddy is
no,
not
no,
going to
no, no. I'm not,
bowl a bat better than.
I'm not talking about Nitish Reddy at all. I'm saying Jadeja also cannot walk in on one of his skills, right? Because he plays ahead
Yeah,
of
yeah,
say an Ashwin, because Ashwin is an all-time great bowler, but because he can't bowl and he's also not a great overseas bowler, though he's better than
yeah.
Jadeja, but Jadeja gets in because he also bats a bit. So I think that it's a catch-22 situation there. Ideally, I would have like we picked three fast bowlers, Kuldeep, and then we have this batsman who bowl a bit, and then somehow you can get to 90 overs. So that's I think let's see, let's wait and watch. But I would certainly pick a solid batting lineup and Dhruv Jurel. I think the kind of temperament he has showed under pressure, kind of rearguard actions he can take, kind of keeper he is. I think he can also give a bit of a rest for a Pant because he's having so many injuries, so many operations. You don't want Pant
No,
keeping
no.
90, maybe 150 overs and struggling to run, right? That's what happened in the because he kept so long that he was having knee injuries and he was not able to run. And you don't have a runner these days, so you have to run for yourself. So if you want, and that is another thing that Pant probably can play as a batsman. He's probably right now at this point in time the best batsman in the country. The way he batted, I think
Yeah, no doubt,
the way he batted,
no doubt, no doubt.
he's not a one track or like one hitter. The way he was trying to counter the spin that last test we could see, he was very unlucky. I still not sure there was not enough evidence for him to be given out, but he was given out. It was a 50-50 situation. The umpire had given not out. It could have gone either ways because there was no hot spot. But the way he was countering was brilliant. So I think Jurel playing will also help in that front because Jurel is a world class keeper and his temperament has been brilliant. The kind of innings he has played and even in Australia has showed a lot of courage. So ideally, if you could play both Washington and Jurel, and maybe then Jadeja can sit out, and because if you're looking at the future, that's another
Yeah,
option.
I think what happens is that in a overseas kind of series, you start with your most experience and the best options you have, and then you look forward to making those changes over the
Then,
period of time.
if that's the
Because
case,
फ्यूचर की बात तो आता है जब आप होम सीरीज पे आते हो.
if that's the case, then Ashwin has to play. He's the one all-time great spinner we have in the team. 516 wickets. I think he's not 500. I think 530 now. 532, whatever number of wickets. I think
Yeah.
then if that is the case, then Ashwin is the one who has to play because he's the one who's
So the
most
same
more.
thing Harbhajan mentioned that. Harbhajan said that you have to play the best team. I remember in the 2008 series, 2007-8 series,
Mhm.
when India went and then they said, "Whom are you playing?" So Kumble said, "This is the first Test match. I'll play my best bowlers." And then when the Perth test came in the third test, Harbhajan was dropped because they needed that extra seamer. That time, the idea was to play seven batters and four bowlers, right? That was a combination. That was how it was. Now, how Gautam Gambhir makes changes here, and that's why this Perth test becomes very important because what they're saying is that the grass is going to be pretty long. So, three paces is a given there, given, and then the fourth person could be a pacer, and that could be Nitish Reddy itself. So you don't know. I mean, it is going to be a very it's not going to be an easy decision. Also, because it's a five test series, they may look at Ashwin to play at Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney. I am sure Ashwin will play in Melbourne of what he did last time. Many people, he was there in that, or the polling, the best BGT polling also. his Melbourne bowling exploits was there, I think,
Was it not
because he
Adelaide?
really.
Was it not
Oh, I think
Adelaide?
it was Adelaide. Yeah, I think it's Adelaide.
It was
Adelaide. But
Adelaide.
he took
Three wickets in
three
each
wickets
innings.
where he. Yeah, yeah. And then in Melbourne last time, it what happened is he set up Steven Smith at the ninth over, and that was one of the key reasons why I won
Hmm.
that Test match, because getting Steven Smith is, it's like getting gold. I mean, so you have to give it to Ashwin that he does that. But yeah, over a period of time, when your age goes up, that revolutions which come through hand and all, they weaken. So you can't blame. I mean, so let's see how it goes. Now, I have one last question, and I think we have 5 minutes to go. So, take this part of it, and then we wrap up this session, and then maybe meet up in another couple of days for Perth test specifically. By then, we will know what is happening. Now, the question here is that Rohit Sharma is the designated captain, but he's not going to be available for the first test. We don't know whether he's going to be available for the second test. There's too much of news that probably Sharma may not play this BGT itself, or maybe he comes and joins only at the fourth test. So many things. How do you see that captaincy thing? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, what is your take on it?
I think he is going to go for the second test. Okay, it was very clearly he had said that he's going to miss the first test, and he's missed the first test, and I'm sure he's going to go for the second test. Of course, a lot of rumors would be coming in, but I'm sure because that's the way they have planned it. So he is going to go for the second test. So that's what's going to happen. First test, Bumrah will take lead, and then Rohit Sharma. I wouldn't be surprised if Rohit Sharma turns up in the middle of the first test probably and starts. But
Yeah, which is fine.
he's in the dressing room, uh, so that's also a possibility. That in the middle of the first test, you might find Rohit Sharma there in the dressing room. So that's what's going to happen. I think if Rohit Sharma misses the second test, there's no point Rohit Sharma being the captain for the whole series. Then, or else he can just go as a batsman whenever if he's fit. If he's going to go for the fourth test, but if he's going for the second test, then of course he's going to be the captain. He is the designated captain. So that's what's going to happen, I feel. And I think Rohit Sharma will be around during the first test. He will not be in the team, but I just have a feeling that he will be around in the dressing room during the first test.
Okay.
And just I
So
want to add one more thing. See, in Test cricket is something where history needs to be taken into consideration. So if you know history about what's happened, that's what players like Rahul Dravid, Anil Kumble, even Ashwin, they know what's happened in Ashes series, what Hulen Hutton was, how. So these things make a lot of difference in things in playing Test cricket. If you know the history, how cricket has evolved, you can go back and take a lot of learnings from what's happened over the last 130 years of cricketing history. So that's where I think history makes only in Test cricket, of course, because one day cricket and T20 has evolved so much that the scores are nowhere close to what it used to be 20, 30 years back. But Test cricket, we're still, if you look at the scorecard still looks the same what it was in the maybe 1920s and 30s. It's very similar. So we say that matches are getting over in 3 4 days, but even in the 19 not 10 1910 matches used to get over in 3 4 days. So I think a lot of things to learn from history. See what happened last week. There was a match in the plate division of Ranji Trophy. Goa versus Arunachal Pradesh. Incidentally, I went to see that match. The second day, first day, Arjun Tendulkar took 5 wickets. The second day, we had Snehal Kautankar and Kashyap Bakle. Okay, they had a partnership starting from the first day, going into the second day till lunch. They had a partnership of 606 runs. At lunch, they had a partnership of 577, and Kashyap Bakle, I think, needed some 20 runs to get to his triple hundred. So they started, and they got to that. He got to that triple century. The partnership was 606, and the captain declared, not knowing that 627 is the world record in any form of first class cricket, which was between Mahela Jayawardene and Kumar Sankara, incidentally, which came in a test match against South Africa. So if they had known, they would have gone for the record. And I was just 50 meters away. They could have asked me if they wanted to. But probably it looked like I was the only one who knew the record. I think the coach who was coaching, he was also saying, why are they declaring where they're very close to Mahela and Sangha? But Dinesh Mungia didn't know it. The coach, the captain didn't know it. So And anyway, they
But
don't.
that's the younger generation, right? I
But
mean, they
no,
don't
no.
look at.
But no, no.
I'm in agreement with what you say. I'm
But
in
no, no,
agreement with
that
what
no,
you
no.
say.
Now they're repenting. It's not that if they don't bother, it's different. They're okay. We don't want the world record. But they said if we had known, we would have gone for the record. But at least Dinesh Mongia being the coach should know. I think that's where it helps a lot. Having Mohandas Menon in the commentary box helps a lot. I'm sure he gives a lot of
And you
input,
have people like,
and you have people Gavaskar and all probably passing on this information to the dressing room. So
yeah.
that's why knowing
Because what happens
history
is
makes a lot of difference.
it does. And also what happens is when you have those individual records, at some point your confidence level
It goes up,
is
yeah. Imagine
one.
Goa's Swapnil Kusale and Snehal Kautankar would have written their name into record books, beating Mahela and Sanda.
Yeah,
Imagine, and they would have
yeah.
627. I think they 606, and both of them not out. And this Swapnil Kusale was his debut. It was he scored a triple century on debut. Of course, it was against Arunachal Pradesh, but still, it's a first class game.
Fair enough.
So
Right. So I think let's get this closing this thing. I just want to ask you the last question. What is your prediction for BGT? I'll ask this question once again before the Perth test, but I'm asking you now. You can change it that time again.
okay, I just have a feeling that India will compete well. But Australia, I think, because India is not the great team, a very good, the quality, the kind of batting lineup we were maybe 3, 4, 5 years back, I just have a feeling it could be a 3-1 kind of a result. That's what I'm saying. One draw, I think 3-1 or 2-all at best. That's what I look at.
Yeah, even I'm looking at 3-1
Three
in favor of Australia.
or 2-all.
2-all means, yeah, 2-all means India would have played out of their skins. And the fitness would have been at some top-notch level.
And I think
But anyways,
it's really, really, really high time for Virat Kohli to make it his own series. I think he has to make the
yeah,
opposition pay for all the failures he's had over the last 5 years.
yeah, he has to take it a bit personal.
Yeah,
I think that would help.
yeah.
But he's sobered down. I mean, that's one thing. But that happens when
I
you
think
have
I
children,
think
right?
I think ऑस्ट्रेलिया ने थोड़ा
हाँ,
उंगली करना चाहिए उसको अभी. We need it.
कोई गाली वाली दे दो अच्छा रहेगा.
नहीं
Right.
नहीं.
So
चल
thanks, Bhaskar. We'll meet again in a couple of days, and
चलो
we'll talk about Perth test. ठीक है?
चलो. बाय
Thank you
बाय
so much, and have a great day. Yeah. Bye bye.
बाय.